live in that world, and you eliminate the bots and they find a way around it, and they keep finding a way around it. So verification of those credentials or those candidates is going to be critical. And I think you should, if you're a TA leader, you should try to figure out how you're going to do that at scale, right? The
Mm.
other side of it, I'm not saying you need to hire more recruiters or anything, but they need to be involved in the process, and there needs to be that human to human connection fairly early on in the process if possible. I think that's there's going to be a counterculture to what AI is bringing to the space of, yeah, no, we do need those human connections. One, it's a better candidate experience. The other side of it too is like, how are we actually going to verify these people are real if we're not having real conversations?
Yeah, I think they're really interesting. They're really interesting points. I mean, I think the thing to say though is I think that when it comes to automation, it's still going to go a lot further than a lot of people are currently
Yeah,
thinking. I think
yeah,
that's one of the things. I think there is a still a kind of sense of complacency that actually things aren't going to change at all.
you're
We'll
right.
always need human recruiters and things like that. But that's not what you're saying, is it?
No, we will need human recruiters, but I think when we look at all the tasks that, as a recruiter myself, that I hated doing, I think those should disappear, right? Like, I remember spending 50% of my time just booking interviews, which in reality that should be done, right? Like
Yeah.
interview notes, running candidates through the process as far as communication outside of having that conversation. You can automate or leverage AI as much as you can because it's going to give a better candidate experience. But we still need that human recruiter at one point to have that real conversation. And I see a recruiter as a little bit different. I see it as an account manager. Basically, you're dealing with the hiring managers. Your job is to make sure they're happy, and you're the account manager for the candidates. You make sure they're flowing through the process. You can answer any questions. So an account manager is kind of like what it's not going to replace a recruiter, but it's kind of
Mm.
what the role is going to be, right? Because sourcing is not, and this is my personal opinion, it's not as critical as used to be. There is so many tools that can find those candidates and have that least initial reach out. That was a big part of TA,
Yeah,
and
yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
it's still going to exist, but I think a lot of what we did on a daily basis as a recruiter for many years is just changing. But at
Yeah.
the end of the day, relationships internally and externally is like the skill that recruiters need.
Absolutely. And I suppose just give us your thoughts on the whole deep seek thing. What's kind of happening there? What do you think about it? You work for a technology company. What are the implications? What's
Well,
going on? What's going on?
when it first came out, I think it's an interesting because a lot of people, even in Silicon Valley and California, I think were excited by it, being like, oh, maybe there is competition to OpenAI. And the other factor too is OpenAI, which is the name, is actually a closed source
Mm,
compared to
mm.
DeepSeek is open source. So a lot of people in the tech industry were like, no, this is the right thing for humanity, for technology, have it open source. But I think there's a lot that we're not seeing because I am not buying that they built this for $6 million. That's I can't see it